Answer Me This with Aryna Ansah and me, Rod Court. Aryna, how are you today?
Oh, Rod, I'm doing really well, really well. It's hot in the outback, isn't it?
It has been. Today's very mild compared to earlier in the week. It was nice out there today.
No, I've been feeling the heat whilst I've been out there, so it's good to talk to you again this week.
England versus New Zealand in the rugby. Tell me about it.
Oh, mate, it was a nail-biter. Agonising for England, to be honest. As I predicted, Rod, New Zealand stole the game. England were, I would say, probably the better side, but their coach needs to have a real hard think about taking fly half Marcus Smith off with George Ford entering the game late in the game. Rod, answer me this. If you have a really good player playing on form and he is basically creating, plays for your team, would you replace him for, maybe another player, or would you just let him finish the game?
I would be wanting him to finish the game.
Yeah, and I think all of England have felt the same thing because it was a narrow loss. And England, I watched the game. Like I said to you, Rod, I'll stay up and watch the game on behalf of both of us. And it was a narrow loss, 24-22. You had George Ford come on late in the game, and he created no offense. He created no attack, while fly half Marcus Smith had New Zealand on the back burner. He really controlled the game for their entire team. It was a pivotal moment when George Ford came on because New Zealand were starting to get their mojo. They were starting to get their groove. Wallace Sititi, he got man of the match. Highly rated and showed why. He's able to offload. He's a delightful offloader. He can break through the game line and then offload off to another player. And if you're another player playing for New Zealand, you want to be sitting right next to Wallace Sititi as he is going through the pack because he will look to offload. He's hard to tackle. He is New Zealand's wonder kid. I think he's going to be a phenomenal asset for him. But England, their coach, truly needs an assessment of what he was doing. Steve Borthwick, it was a complete fail to remove Marcus Smith and replace him with George Ford. So, agonising for the English crowd in Twickenham, it just wasn't their day. In terms of the stats, you can basically see it. Metres gained for New Zealand, 472 versus England, 371. Defenders beaten. England had 15, New Zealand had 24. Clean breaks. The breaks were what really crushed England in the end, with New Zealand having 8 and England having 5. Offloads. This is the stat. And Wallace Sititi, again, was a huge contributor to that. New Zealand had 14, England had 4. Rod, that basically made the game. And I truly think in that second half, in the last 20 minutes of the game, that's where New Zealand really turned the screws in. And to make an error of taking off your best player for England, that's what cost them the game.
Golf, Liv, and the PGA. I don't like the name Liv. Reportedly won.
Well, listen, Rod, there's always money involved in creating a bit of a peace deal. So it's been reported by Fox Sports that both the PGA and the Liv Tour have come to a $2 billion peace deal to end golf civil war between both organisations. So it's been reported that Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, who have backed Liv's golf since its first season in 2022, will pay roughly $2 billion to become part of the PGA and put an end to that saga that has divided men's golf. Rod, money talks, does it not?
It certainly does, but some money's a little bit dirtier than others, shall we say?
Well, I won't get into that debate, but with the merger of Liv Golf and the PGA Tour was announced by both sides in June last year, but since then, little has come to it. So it's clearly been a profitable negotiation for the PGA, and I think it's going to be The uproar when Liv first started, and Australia's own Greg Norman was a driving force behind that and working with the PIF to actually get that going. Players earning an income. That's what it was. That's what Liv basically said. We will pay you a wage for you to play professional golf instead of there being prize money. Well, PGA has to move with the times, and it has. It's clearly recognised that golf is very popular around the world. It's an exciting sport, and you can't have two entities running at the same kind of game, splitting the players up. Let's keep it all in one, keep the money. It's a monopoly, of course, but it's something, I just have to say money talks, does it not?
It does, and there's nothing like amateur anymore. Everything is professional. Everyone is professional. So, get into it. As I say at the start, Liv I just don't like, but it refers to the Roman numerals for 54. That's what it's supposed to be. So why not just call it 54 golf, because they play 54 rounds.
Yeah, well, no, good. We can send them our ideas, Rod. Some people have been listening to our ideas, like they have in the rugby. Actually, Rod, real quickly, with the rugby, they put names on the shirts for England?
Yes.
Rod, they put the last name of players on the shirts for the England team.
Good work.
They need work, though. The typesetting was terrible, and also the font, just wasn't happening. But it's a start, and it looked pretty good.
All right, and now let's talk about Aryna Sabalenka.
What a star. She clearly is one of the best players out there. So, Aryna Sabalenka, tennis star. We got the Australian Open coming up, and I watched her at last year's Australian Open finals, and she just blew the crowd away. She's right now at the WTA finals. She is playing Coco Gauff. She is cynical. She's a talent. For someone who is really kind of going, she's going to be great. She is going to be the next star of tennis, and she's the world number one, and she'll be playing Coco Gauff, world number 3. I think if you want to see a true champion, I personally think she might be better than Serena Williams in the future. That's my call.
All right. We'll have to watch and see.
Indeed.
2025 Tour de France. You claim it's not to be for the faint-hearted.
Well, no. We've spoken about Taj Pogacar a few times, who is obviously the reigning 2024 Tour de France winner. He has described the 2025 Tour as brutal after its official unveiling earlier this week. Rod, the Tour has 51,550 metres of elevation crammed into the 21-stage race. That's a lot of climbing. They're basically saying it's a climber's tour. It's been a while since the Tour has actually started in France. So they're starting the 2025 Tour in France and going through, heading towards Brittany before looping southwards, east from the Pyrenees to the Alps, and then heading back to Paris for the classic Champs-Élysées sprint finish. It's kicking off in Lille on the 5th of July, and it'll be the 112th edition of the sport's biggest race. Rod, I'm excited for it. Taj has basically said the race begins with some tricky stages within the opening week, including multiple stages designed for sprinters, but with several punchy climbs. And as I mentioned, with the 51,000 metres of elevation, it is going to be a brutal affair, and that's going to be something exciting to watch. But yes, the 2025 Tour de France, schedule has been released, and I'm excited for next year.
Just 239 or 38 days to go until...
Yeah, just a few days. I mean, just get it on the calendar. If you're setting your 2025 sports calendar, put the Tour de France on.
I reckon they need to have 2 Tour de France's each year so I can enjoy the countryside as it flies by.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of the Tour de France. That's the beauty of these classicals. You do have modern technology where you have planes, drones, and everything, just showing you these beautiful European countrysides, castles. Have you travelled through Europe, Rob?
Parts of it, yes.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Not through France, no. Yes, it's wonderful, and everything seems to be so close, and there's lots of people there as well. Let's go to football, shall we? The Premier League. Kwabena, answer me this. Who is at the top of the ladder?
Liverpool, followed by Manchester City. Third is Nottingham Forest. And then my team, Chelsea, number 4, followed by Arsenal, and number 6 is Aston Villa. Rod, answer me this. Do you know where Manchester United sit?
Where does Manchester United sit?
13. Lucky 13. We've had 10 games played in the league. Liverpool have won 8. They've drawn 1. They're clearly showing why they are the top side. Manchester City actually had a brutal week in losing to Sporting Lisbon, I believe, in Portugal in the Champions League. I will check that to make sure that's correct. Manchester City lost in the Champions League, but Nottingham Forest, they've won 5. The top 2 teams, Liverpool and Manchester City, are the sides to beat. But with Manchester United, they are probably getting the hottest coach in town at the moment, so it has been confirmed. Manchester United has appointed Ruben Amorim as their head coach, and so he will be coming into the team. He'll join until June 2027 with a club option of an additional year. Once he has fulfilled his obligation to his current club, he'll join Manchester United on Monday, the 11th of November. It's an exciting time. Hopefully he has a clean slate, and hopefully, it's not a long contract, actually. When you think about it, it's only roughly a 2-year contract, but let's just see what he can do. He'll need time. The greats of Manchester have been commenting on this, that he does need time. The expectations are very high. The expectations are extremely high on him, but I think if the players can buy into the way he plays, his team, he normally plays 3 at the back. Manchester don't have a really good back line. So can he find someone within their pool or who's elsewhere and really get them to buy in? Because the players are letting Manchester United down. The coaching isn't. It's their effort, Rod. It's their effort. But well done to any Liverpool supporters out there. Your team and your club is top of the table at the moment.
And there's plenty of them around. Let's move to another football, the Australian Football League, the AFLW. What are they doing with the grand final?
Last week we spoke about Channel 7's proposed ideas. Well, now the AFL Women's Grand Final will be a nighttime affair. How exciting, Rod? Answer me this. Will you be watching?
Oh, I don't know. Could be, but I like a mid-afternoon grand final myself. I'm a traditionalist in that way.
Well, but this is for the AFL women. I think it's a nice distinction, because what it does do is give them their own kind of legacy. The night grand final, I remember I went to a Carlton game, the women's, just an ordinary club game. Night grand final out in Carlton. Rod, it was a huge affair. It was a family affair. A lot of people around. The nighttime really worked well. I enjoyed it. And then, Melbourne, they have a nightlife afterwards, so go out.
Okay, and very quickly, tragic loss of an Italian teenage skier with a bright future ahead of her.
Matilde Lorenzi, she passed away after a serious training accident in northern Italy. The 19-year-old skier died after a training incident in northern Italy. She was a promising prospect for Italy after achieving success at youth levels, but suffered an accident. It's all too soon. Our thoughts are out with her family, but certainly, I just wanted to share that. I think, someone so young with a future prospect in skiing passing too early.
Very much so. Kwabena, thanks for your time today.
Rob, thank you. Speak to you soon.
Answer Me This with Kwabena Ansah and me, Rod Korth.